Alrighty. Hey, gang. What's up? What's up, pups? How you guys doing? We have reached another Friday night fun we'll be having today. Welcome to the Power Up Podcast. Once again, the awesome Joe Ball has decided to hang out, and today we're just going to be chilling for the most part. Uh, have some things we'll just talk about. Of course, we have a bunch of articles of various topics that we could just look into, see what's happening in the old entertainment world as we always do. Last time we hung out, Joe, we were you got salty and I loved it. I something about just being salty about things makes me giggle and happy.
Bro, I popped a blood vessel. I had to go to urgent care. Say, fix my eyeball. The lady was like, nah. She sent me home. Terrible urgent
Chaos,
care.
what's up, dude? It says hello, assholes.
Hey, now that's Mr. Asshole to you, Chaos.
Oh my gosh, we're already starting hot.
Yeah.
But yes, we are multi-streaming on YouTube and Rumble. Odyssey is slowly just becoming the backup bitch, cause I don't know. I like Odyssey's interface, but with Nick and his whole situation, and just really like a lot of people just exploding over on Rumble, just to kind of took the lead and becoming that alternative, I guess you could say. Because I know Rumble is trying to just be tech, which I do agree. I feel like Odyssey's just, I don't know, just fallen on the wayside. Personally, what do you think about that, Joe? You think?
I mean, it's kind of surprising because I think, like, I've always leaned towards Odyssey out of all the other options that are not YouTube.
Hmm.
And other guys I like have always been they've been on Odyssey for a while, when they got kicked off YouTube or kicked off of Trovo, or the list goes on of places that, like, 2016 folks just got booted from left and right. Odyssey seemed kind of like the last place to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Odyssey, but, like, if Rumble's where people are going, it's just where they're going. I mean, they've got Revenge of the Sis now, they've got Nick Rekieta. They're getting people that had big presence on YouTube, and they're making deals with these guys and get them over there. And I think if Odyssey would have taken that initiative
Mm-hmm.
to try to wheel and deal, they might have got some of these guys. But all they'll do is, you know, add them on Twitter like, "Hey, come on over to Odyssey." It's like Rumble's paying them. You're gonna have to do a little better, Odyssey.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm kind of interested in that, Joe, because it sounded like you were saying, like you just said, you liked Odyssey a lot too. What was it about Odyssey that you kind of saw? Like, was it just because that was the one that was kind of swooping around at the time, sort of thing?
It just felt easiest to use. Its search
Yeah.
gave me good options that match what I was looking for. Like, if you go on BitChute and just put in one word, it'll just say no results. When you're like,
Oh
I put in
gosh.
quote Bill Clinton. I know there are results. Just because I didn't put an exact title of an exact video spelled exactly right doesn't mean, like, and I Rumble, I don't know, like, I guess, like, I just never liked even looking at it. Like, it just, as soon as I went to the main page, I was just like, ugh, I'm gonna go over to Odyssey, but
Yeah. I've said before that, like, if they could kind of smush everything together, or at least not really smush, create a hybrid Rumble at least, or what have you. Um, like take Odyssey's smooth looking interface and just put it on Rumble, sort of thing, or
yeah,
vice versa, whichever. If you, I don't know if there was aspects of Rumble you like, but I know Rumble, especially with Nick now associated with Rumble, because a lot of times in his stream he talks about how he's working behind the scenes to kind of give Rumble that extra boost, and hopefully one of them's going to be the just the design element in general. Because Rumble is not a pretty site to look at.
it's not. It really isn't. But I try to not be, like, too petty in that sense. It's like I can look past the site being kind of ugly, but I don't know that a bunch of other people can. Like I can
No, yeah.
see the normie being like, this looks generic and moving on with their life immediately.
Okay, so funny enough. So once again, I was looking at the font that was in our names, and it wasn't the font that I had selected. And then when I actually went there and I clicked it, even though it's listed with the font that I wanted to use, it switched and updated. So some sort of weird glitch on their end. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's odd. Hey, yeah, but chaos. Bill Clinton did win the game of the year. I thought
He
that was amazing.
did.
Good for Bill. Oh, Big Willie. I mean, he's stuck with that hag. Poor guy. Like, can we just sympathize for Bill Clinton? Craig's over there like, he's a pedo. Stop saying this. The guy's a
Yeah.
pervert.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's being nice about him.
Yeah.
Like we could go really in ham about his disgusting stuff. But funny
Yeah.
enough, Chaos, since you mentioned at least in game awards, I wasn't going to say funny that you mentioned Bill Clinton because I have nothing to say about Bill Clinton because fuck him. But
Yeah.
we'll be talking about game awards stuff too. That is one of the things I think would be kind of fun to look, just because I've never been I've never been one to really keep up with like new game trailers and looking into like the new games that are coming out, mostly because a lot of it is pre-rendered scenes like from the game, and it doesn't show the gameplay. But
Yeah.
hopefully a lot of these newer trailers that were shown at the Game Awards will have that. So I think that'd be a fun little thing we'll be doing here soon, is looking into that. What were you saying though, Joe? I kind of cut you off. Were you saying something?
I don't even remember. It was probably something just stupid about Bill Clinton. It's cool.
Oh, then okay. Chaos says, should I feel sorry for Bill or not? No. Like, did he do
No.
more damage to politics? Oh, man, that's like back in the 90s sort of shit. I mean,
Here's the weird thing about Bill Clinton, and this is coming from someone that lived through his
I
entire,
was gonna say you probably know more because I was young when Bill Clinton, like when we were learning more about the presidency around that time, when it was the whole Bill Clinton, what was it, Bill Clinton, Al Gore sort of
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was an Al Gore fan simply because Al Gore liked chocolate ice cream. So I like chocolate ice cream. Like I legitimately remembered like in elementary school when the presidential stuff was happening, is the only things that we were kind of shown about was like the basic kid stuff. Like, oh, Bill Clinton liked vanilla ice cream and Al Gore liked chocolate ice cream. I'm like, I like chocolate ice cream, so I think I like Al Gore. That sort of thing. Not
They're
really
like, and
knowing.
George Bush Jr. is a Nazi. You're like, oh well, nobody likes Nazis, but everyone loves ice cream.
What were you going to say though about Bill? Like you said, because you grew up in the thing. Oh, I
Yeah,
guess it
like
was.
there's this weird like love. Like here's the thing: there's a lot of stuff we don't know about people until well after the
Mhm.
fact, and we know they're not going to be held accountable because they've already moved on with their lives, and just people shrug their shoulders at stuff. But when I was a kid, it was tough because like we 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 grew up with like not necessarily liking Bill, but like life was good then,
Mhm.
and so people have like beer goggles for Bill Clinton sometimes because he was smart enough to go. You gotta keep the economy in check if you don't want everyone to completely hate you. You've got to make sure people can thrive, that the middle class can thrive. So he kept the middle class thriving, but at the same time he was pushing manufacturing to China. Like even though it was already a lot of it was already there, I'm not going to act like it wasn't. Sometimes people act like the NAFTA GATT legislation kind of sealed the deal on it. It's like it did seal the deal, but it didn't start it. It was already happening before then because everyone knew that where the cheap labor was. It was the Asian countries, except for Japan. It was every place that was either an island or China, and kept everyone kind of happy. So we looked past it, and he was really good at just showing up on TV and being fun and being charismatic. He just seemed like a good old Southern boy, and most people outside of maybe adults that really like paid attention because there was no internet at the time to like spread the word quickly about corruption.
Hmm.
Um, like Bill had did all kinds of terrible things when he was governor of Arkansas, but most of us didn't know about it because we didn't live in Arkansas, and information didn't travel the way it does now. And you had to really be someone that focused on politics all the time to catch this, and that just wasn't normal back then. People didn't even talk hardly about politics in any shape or form in the mid '90s. It was so rare. You never heard your parents and other parents talking about it. It was almost exclusively for left wing people. They're the only ones that wanted to irritate the room. Like no one else was up for it. So it's tough with Bill because he gave us very good economic times that were a lot of fun to live through, but all the stuff that made like the early '90s cool was kind of dissipating at the same time. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a love hate with Bill. He gave us a lot of fun. No serious wars. Yeah, we got in some skirmishes. He did sell missile secrets to the Chinese, then lied and said he lost them. Like he just went to China and lost them. Like that's literally how he explained it, as if he just like misplaced a sheet of
Whoops.
paper. Yeah. So like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he was a terrible dude. He did terrible things, but he was
Oh,
he everyone was happy, so they didn't care. We could go to Walmart with $120 in our hand and leave with 3 carts worth of shit. Everyone was happy.
oh man. I remember that. I remember the old Walmart back in my hometown. There was you had the arcade, like you'll have the coin operating machines like out in the
Mhm.
little breezeway before you went into the store, and there was an arcade. There was the X-Men arcade game that I
Oh,
always
fun with
loved.
that. Yeah.
I always loved making sure I had some quarters with me to play them. And
It
then
was fun too because you knew your quarters could kind of last with it. It was the kind of game
yeah,
that didn't immediately kill you, so you had to stick another quarter in. It had a little. As a kid, that was rare, especially when you're little and you're just terrible at every video game, but they're so much fun. You play them anyways. And in the
hmm
'90s, '80s, games were like hard. So it's yeah, those were part of that's all
I
part of the good old days.
yeah, I remember there was one time we went there and um like my folks had to like run errands. They would always tell you run errands, it won't be that long. And this one particularly, ooh, hey, speaking of, we'll wait till he shows up, but someone has just arrived in the background.
Oh,
You
sweet.
and
We
Joe
got
should do hot button co-op together. I want to see the suffering. Well, Joe lives elsewhere. He lives in the good old state of Ohio.
that's right. Or
But
as I like to call it, Neo Deutschland,
Neil
because
Deutschland.
I live in Cincinnati and we're all pretty much German descent. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm from the Netherlands. Well, not really, but I am Dutch.
Hey,
So,
dude, that's people forget like
mhm.
being born in places doesn't cancel out the things we're genetically predisposed for from the past, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So, like sometimes people forget. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure if I went back over to the countries that my ancestors came from, I'd see some things and I would feel it in my blood. I would. I can look at a picture of like Bavaria right now and be like, I know what that dirt feels like just because of my blood. you know.
Well, we all know you were a big time serial murderer.
Hey now, dude, oh,
Sorry.
I should have sent this to you. I've got a Joe Rogan clip that's absolutely awesome. I'll send it to you later. We'll save it for like next week or something. I'll
Okay.
just don't let me forget because you will die laughing when you see this shit.
Okay. I was gonna
You-
say you could like yeah. We do have a private chat. Don't remember this is the StreamYards alternative. It should be exactly like StreamYards, but maybe better.
I
Speaking of
need to
which,
be sure it's appropriate too. Like I don't want to get you like booted because Rogan can go places that we can't on YouTube all
oh,
the
I
time.
guess that's true. Well,
He can. We can't.
I've come to accept whatever happens. Speaking of which, Ryan, what's up, dude? He might be setting stuff up.
Well, Ryan, if you hear me, It's good. It's good to see you, big dog.
Big dog.
Yeah, he is. He's the big dog of editing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. When Ryan, I'm gonna hide you on stream, and I'm just should be in the background just whenever things get set up. Just I'll re-add you. But yeah, he is currently shocking himself on purpose with his cables.
Oh, it feels good.
He's
That would
into
be
that shit.
hilarious, actually. If, like, tech dudes all had this hidden, like, fetish for like zapping themselves just a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Are you good, Ryan?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it's once you get shown on, I think that's when the audio like comes. I don't remember if that's how StreamYard works, if you can talk in the background,
Yeah,
but hey dude, what's up?
not much. How's it going?
Welcome.
We were
Welcome
just
to-
talking about how, like, even though Bill Clinton's a terrible human being, that like people that lived through the mid '90s have like we have like beer goggles about him because life was good, even though we didn't know all the terrible stuff he was doing till after the fact. And we're like, but how can I hate him? He's so nice. And it's like, but he gave information to our mortal enemies. And we're like, yeah, but it's Bill. Come on, Big Willie style. Cut the old dog.
saxophone, guys.
Yeah, on
just
Arsenio
the
Hall.
old saxophone. Doo, doo, doo.
I can tell you why I don't like Bill Clinton. I just don't like the way he looks.
Yeah, he looks like a bitch.
Nowadays,
Oh
he
my
just looks
god,
like a zombie.
I don't know.
he does now. Yeah, he looks like he's looking his age. You know, he's finally getting old and frail and skinny. Like I bet if he
You're
like
giving him
had
an
pulled a-
easy out. We all know it's Hillary's just zapping the life out of him.
Well, that's the biggest part of it. He would probably actually still look like old Bill if he wasn't with her.
Probably.
Like,
You want,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually looking up like a current picture. This just goes to show how much Bill Clinton affects my life, and that is very, very little, if not
Yeah.
at all.
He looks awful.
Oh, I cannot wait to see this then. Holy moly!
Greg was shocked. He was visibly shocked.
Wow.
His nose is still all pink. That's what I love the most. The pink and the tip of his nose never went
He
away.
must
It's like
he must
been
constantly
drunk.
like punch himself in the nose, or just keep up that cocaine habit.
You know what? I'm kind of surprised because like people that do a lot of speedy stuff, no matter which kind of speedy stuff, it does make your like nose itch really bad. Not always, but it will when it's like peaking in you, it will
Mhm.
make your nose get like almost like you're having an allergy fit. And I'm kind of shocked how many people that we know for fact because they've admitted it did tons of cocaine, and we don't have any pictures of them with scabbed up noses because you'll literally like sit there and scratch the edges and the tip of your nose till the skin is just getting torn off without even realize. It's like when you see a dog or a cat or something in heat that's going to cut its belly open because it won't stop rubbing itself on something.
Oh
It's like,
gosh.
stop, animal. Like I know it feels good right now, but it's not when your guts are spilling. And cokeheads do the same thing, man. They'll itch their nose till it's like raw, all on the edges, like the little kid with a cold for a week.
Oh gosh. Bill can win the game awards, but Hillary can't get 270 votes from the election.
That's pretty funny.
Oh my goodness. Well, welcome, Ryan. Welcome. How
Right.
are things going for you, buddy?
Oh, they're going. I'm
Yeah, okay.
partially
okay.
in the middle of moving, like from my house to an apartment. I say that I haven't moved a single thing because I've been so busy.
Mm-hmm.
But just trying to get all that situated and then getting everything finalized here at my old place.
Okay. Okay.
Are
Yeah.
you staying in the town? I'm not going to dox. I'm just asking. You staying like where you live at, or are you moving like completely out of state?
No, I'm staying in the same city. Funny enough, the place I'm moving to is literally like 4 blocks away. It's
Oh,
it's
there
not
you go.
even that far away.
Yeah. The
At
weird thing
least
is that makes a person less enthusiastic to even bother trying to get their stuff moved. Because in our head, we're like, it's not like I got to drive a truck like across a state or two. This is just up the street. I can just make a few trips with my car. The night you have to be out, it's like, oh my god, there's all
oh,
this stuff,
dude.
and I got to be out tonight.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
thing. It's like I plan on doing some moving this weekend because I'm trying to be fully moved out by Christmas because I got to go back to like going to my aunt's house, which is down in like South Texas.
okay.
Yeah, that's the last
Cool.
thing you want to do is come back from Christmas knowing you have to move shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Ugh.
it was a bared enough fight trying to just get this apartment because the complex didn't have anything until like the end of the month, and I'm like, I can't do that. I
I hate when they pull that garbage. They purposely do it. It's so annoying. I
but
hate it.
but luckily a place opened up like right at the end of November, so I went ahead and snagged it, and so like okay, well now I have all of December to move out.
Chaos says, Ryan, you managed to get the puke stains, blood stains, and the love stains out before leaving your frat house.
No comment.
No comment. Okay. Chaos, stop asking very personal questions, or you will be beaten with a reed. Well,
Duke
anyway,
stains and blood
Ryan,
stains are nothing. You should have seen how my desk looked before I moved. The underneath of it, just white stuff everywhere. It was a goddamn mess. I had to get out the Brillo pad.
oh man, just make sure you don't scan. Make sure to scan everything with the dark light first.
Who are you,
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes?
That's what I'm gonna call that now. When people like bust out the black light, I'm gonna call it a Fuentes.
Oh
Oh,
really?
yeah, you're pulling a Fuentes, huh?
Hey,
You
Zad
little
Comics,
freak.
what's up?
Hey, Phil. What's up, Phil? That's one of my homeboys. You guys met him down in Houston. I don't know why I'm talking like you don't know who he is.
Well, it might have been like it's been a while, obviously, and it could have been because Phil sounds familiar, but unfortunately, I can't place the face.
He's like a 7 foot tall, handsome, dark haired guy,
Okay,
I think I
and
remember.
he ran around with us quite a bit down there. You would have seen me with him a lot. If you saw his face, you'd recognize him.
okay,
You're like,
cool.
oh yeah, the giant person that was the only person that was the same height as Legal Mindset. So
We should have had them fight like
it would have
live
been
action
sweet.
kaiju battle.
Well, see, here's the thing. Andrew has that fucked up leg. So like he was walking around like a dude on stilts the whole time. Phil's young and limber. He works out. He would have just fucking sweep that leg. Immediately saw the weakness, went right in. So I love Andrew. Andrew's a saint. Like that dude's made me some real money on my campaign. No joke. But like Andrew, I want to see you in a fight with my boy Phil. Phil's beast.
A big old dude that can, hold a dove gently, but yet crush a watermelon.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. Very nice. What I was gonna say, Ryan, we're just chilling out today. There's not really any like specific plan. I think it'd be pretty fun. At least for me, I didn't see any I didn't watch any of the game awards because who gives a shit about the game awards? But we'll look over like the trailers and see what new games there are and that sort of stuff and just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and it's just it feels like they're trying to turn mainstream gaming into the new Hollywood since Hollywood is dying.
yeah, that's why I don't really give a crap about what these so-called experts declare. So
Like they had an entire segment to like what's the video game adaptation of the year, and it was just like TV shows and movies. It was like this has nothing to
What?
do with like yes, they're based off of video game IPs, but these aren't video games.
Well, a lot of
Well,
them
and
are
they're
like,
just usually bad anyways. It's like, why are you guys even bragging about this? You should be pretending it doesn't exist and focus on how awesome your games are. Because all these adaptations are just awful. We get what, maybe one good adaptation for a game out of every 12 to 15 things that they
Well,
try. I mean, I don't know anyone that likes the Resident Evil movies. They just watched them out of boredom on HBO one day. Like,
they only had four nominees, and they were honestly all the best like of this year. So it was oh god, it was Cyberpunk Edge Runners, like the anime. It was
I heard that. I heard
Cuphead.
that one's good.
Yeah, the Cuphead show, which I've heard is real good.
Okay.
It was Sonic 2, and I forget what the fourth one was. It was the first one they announced. I've already
Like
forgotten
anime,
about.
like movie based, you said, or game based?
Well, it's like it's a adaptation of a video game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was Edge Runners, Cuphead,
Sonic.
Sonic. and I
Cuphead
skipped the fourth one.
rule. I love
Cup-
Cuphead. I just got to chime in because, like, the Cuphead game, I get it's incredibly hard. It should be, but that game and that show are two of the most creative,
Yeah.
interesting things to come out of the last like 10 years worth of like TV or gaming. Like, it made me so happy when I first saw that game, and I didn't play it till quite a while later, but I watched, a lot of stuff on YouTube and people doing playthroughs of it and was just so impressed by all of it and the creativity of it and
Oh,
just how well
Uncharted.
it was done.
Was,
And
was Uncharted the other one, Ryan?
Uncharted, no.
Okay, that's a recent one that was based on a video game. Chaos was just suggesting maybe it was Uncharted. Chaos also
No,
says
they were all like animated, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 1.
was that Arcane show based off of a game? Or is
It was
that just a
Arcane
show?
because Arcane was the one that won.
Oh,
alright.
okay.
League League of Legend fans will vote.
Oh, yeah.
everything.
My roommate Zach recommended me to watch Arcane. I started watching a little bit of it. It looked pretty good. I should have continued. The trailer for
Like,
Tekken 8 looked great, especially my queen, June Kazuma, making a long-awaited return. I never got into Tekken. What is that, just another fighting game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
you
Street
had to
Fighter.
kind of be like, you had to be through like the fighting game boom in the early mid 90s to really appreciate Tekken. And even then,
Mhm.
I remember going to the arcade and thinking, "Oh my God, Tekken looks real." And I see it now, like that first Tekken, and it's literally just a few blocks connected to each other, kind of flailing around. Like it's
At
in its
at me
time,
with
it was cool, but it really did not look real at all.
at me with Tekken 3 because I remember playing it and I was like, oh man, this looks so cool. It's all great. And then I saw it recently and like, oh, did it always look that bad?
Well, it's one of those things where we never had seen anything better yet. Like it really took Toy Story for people to see something done with computer animation that was done on such a high scale. Like I'll be honest, dude, I look backwards, I don't know how Disney pulled off Toy Story. I really don't because we see everything else that use similar technology, and outside of like a few scenes in Jurassic Park or Terminator, which was still dominantly filmed on set by regular actors, um, those were really the only examples we had of this working out or going well because these studios were having to just like hire guys to just invent software to do this stuff. It's not like it
Well-
was commonplace yet, it's super impressive. That's all my point is. I can't believe like Tekken and Toy Story are like within a year of each other,
Yeah.
and one looks top, still holds up today. It still looks just as good as computer animation right now, 25 years later, and Tekken looks retarded completely.
Yeah, it was just the fact that like back then it was still Pixar. They hadn't been bought out yet. And it was just the fact that was
Well,
the
I'm-
trailblaze. That's what set it up for it. And then not just that, but then it's like you had George Lucas with like the Star Wars prequels. Those were like the two like pioneers of a lot of 3D animation we see today.
Yeah, because here's the thing, there were plenty of examples of it done bad.
Oh,
There
yeah.
weren't that many examples of it done really well or high end, and those were kind of like the examples of how far things could go if you had the resources and manpower to pull it off.
Yeah,
So,
you had the two versions of fully 3D and then 3D mixed with live action.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and you know
that's
what Tekken was?
still the
We'd never
best.
seen a game that could move around. I think that's what it was. All fighting games were from the side, so even if they looked good, they were still all from the side, and that's what made people love Tekken. It was like the first time you got three-dimensional movements, like where cameras were swirling around you, like while you're fighting.
Yeah,
And
like
doing
you could actually
so-
rotate around your opponent.
Yeah. So that was, I get the popularity. I'm sure there's some people that might hear this and be like, this retard doesn't know anything about video games. It's like, no, I get why it was popular. That doesn't change the fact that it looked retarded.
I don't get why it was popular. I think it was garbage. No,
Dude, that was like a
I'm just
game that
kidding. I
cost you
never.
like $1.50 to play in the arcade too. Like, while all the other games were a quarter to 50 cents, like Tekken, and there were a few other like race car games where it's like, it's gonna be 6 of your quarters, young man. It's like, but I only have 4 quarters. My parents aren't rich, you know.
Yeah, just play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That was the one everyone would flock around at least. Well, let's
Dude,
see.
that was ahead of its time too, man. I mean, the Mortal Kombat hype and the boom of it, like, was it's one of those things where like I don't think you can fully appreciate like Beatles mania unless you live through Beatles mania. Like I can watch all the videos and documentaries in the world. I'll never know what it's like to everywhere you go, people are talking about it. But Mortal Kombat was one of those things I got to live through and see, and like that was huge. Like every kid at school was going bananas over it for a few years
Oh yeah.
straight, just because the sequels, once they kind of got moving with them, those were red hot too, and like kids were literally begging their parents for it, even though parents all thought it was the worst thing to ever exist because it had pixel blood.
Yeah,
You know,
Sega Genesis, but you had to put in a code to get it. I remember that. I remember when that was like the big thing.
it was a fun game. It moved quick. Like
It did, yeah.
it was just a fun game to play at the time. And I feel like
Oh
I don't know
gosh.
if we've lost that because I'm not a big gamer, but I know like when I was young, it was either a bunch of games were hard or there was a game that would just be fun but slightly challenging, and that's what everyone was drawn to. Like everyone had Mario, not everyone had Ninja Gaiden. So even though Ninja Gaiden was cool, it would make you irate like 3 minutes into it 'cause it was so damn difficult. So at least these days you can kind of there's a lot more options for fun, I think. Because I know my kids have like a Nintendo, like a Wii Lite. I think that's what it's called. No, it's not a Wii, it's a DS Lite. Um,
And I still want to get a 3DS, but I'd probably get the what is it,
have
the
you played the
2DS?
3DS?
Hmm?
Have you played the 3DS like on 3D?
No, I
It's
haven't.
really it's cool, but it will kind of like disorient you. Like it even says like in the packaging, like to be wary of being disoriented from playing it for too long. Like one of my buddies came into my store and when it was brand new and had it, and I
Oh
was just
really?
sitting there like amazed, like, oh my god, it is 3D. It looks like it's hovering off the screen. And after about 10 minutes of it, I was like, I have a fucking headache. Like my eyeballs keep swirling in my head now.
Well, from what I've heard with the whole 3D thing too, like it does that, but like there's like only a handful of games to where it requires to have that 3D thing. Like it was specifically for the 3D element of the thing. And for me, it was like, well, chances are I'm not going to utilize the whole 3D element from the 3DS a whole lot of times. So like to me, it would be like and then they made the what is it, the 2DS, which is
Yeah.
like which to me I probably would just get the 2DS because it's like unless the game is like you have to have the 3DS option to play this game, then it's like whatever sort of
A
thing.
lot of people I knew just stopped using the 3D function after a little bit.
See,
It's
that's what
fun
I've
in
heard.
the moment. Yeah, it's
That's what I
cool.
heard.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, but like all things with Nintendo, they're ahead of the curve big time on everything. Somebody in like 15 years will do it and it'll be perfect. It might even be Nintendo figuring it out again. But I always have faith in Nintendo. I don't care what anyone says about that company. They think of everything before everybody else even has considered it. Like people are like, well, what about games you can play over the internet on a disc? And Nintendo's like, we have done that in the 1973. It's like they're always ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I just even they're going the way of censorship. That's what's really still annoying me with the whole video games 3 is like every Sony, Xbox, now it seems like Nintendo too, they're censoring certain games for certain reasons. Each one being like a different reason why, and it's so annoying. I'm getting so tired of it.
Nintendo just needs to get a handle on Nintendo America. Like the American end of them has typically done okay because they basically just do whatever Japan tells them. But and and stood their ground on a lot of shit over the years when other companies and other places
Yeah.
were just buckling and bending the knee, no problem. But I think we're finally hitting this weird phase in history where the SJW level of liberal kooky craziness is starting to ease off. I just feel, I don't know about
Hope
you
so.
guys. If I scroll social media now, I feel like people are being far more ballsy than they would have a couple of years ago. And I don't think it's just because of Elon. Like that's played into it. But
Mhm.
it's just like they're so fed up, they're not scared to like basically tell liberals, like, look, you guys are in the minority. You just don't know it yet. But like everyone hates you and you're about to find out.
Speaking of minorities,
Yeah.
oh, this actually works because I was scrolling through Bounding into Comics, and this is something that I've had no clue on. Apparently, the new Transformers: Rise of the Beasts says the film will tell a story about Black and Latin culture.
But look,
Yes,
I'm
because
a
that's
huge
what I
fan.
tuned into Transformers for.
Yeah, like I love Transformers, but that's never been an overarching theme. Like, are they retarded?
Yes. Yes.
You were no Transformers fans. Guess what? There's a reason their room has no human characters anywhere on the toy shelf because they don't care about human characters. They want robots that turn into vehicles and/or another type of robot. We're
You guys-
very simple people.
No, never mind. We'll come back to that thought in a minute here. But what the heck is this? While most fans are presently concerned with whether or not the film will feature an appearance by a certain purple-scaled incarnation of Megatron, I have not watched any of the Michael Bay Transformer movies. I was never a big Transformer person.
The first two were good. Third one was weird. Fourth one was bad. Fifth one was even worse.
They're all
Oh,
pretty
Mega.
bad, to be honest. It's just the first one is the most tolerable and fun. The first one's tolerable and fun. From there, it's like, have you noticed what Marvel movies, like, the humor was okay the first 10 or 12 movies, but by like the
Mhm.
15th or 16th Marvel movie, you're just sick of hearing everyone like do like Buffy the Vampire, like Joss Whedon speak. It's like, why is every character snarky? Why is every character got some stupid quip for everything that everyone else says all the time? Like, this isn't how people talk.
Let's
It's like
see.
Friends. It's like trying to watch episodes of Friends. That's how everyone talks in Transformers movies.
Well, I'm gonna see what this trailer has to offer because that's what we go off of, right? Trailer should
Yeah.
should tell us if it's worth seeing or not. Let's see. Paramount Pictures. We have Paramount Pictures Australia, and then there's one from One Media. Let's see. There's a 216, 228, and a 205. They all look the same though. I'm gonna do the 205 one. Let's see if let's see. There we go. Let's see what this monstrosity has to offer. Ready, Transformer
Yeah.
fans?
All right,
What's
let's rip this Band-Aid off.
Yeah, let's do it. Can you guys hear it, by the way?
Yeah.
All right. Make sure it's not super loud.
Stand down. I'm not the one to fear, Prime. There is a darkness coming.
They're going Beast Wars, dude. They're doing the worst thing TF has ever offered the world.
I don't
That's
know.
Bumblebee,
Beast,
right?
Beast Wars has its like cult. It has its cult following.
So are these all just new people, like new human characters that were never established?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all kind of like prequels, I believe. From, like, the big ones.
They kind of switch the humans up, but bring back one or two each movie.
I've heard that this is both a reboot, but it's supposed to be a prequel at the same
All right,
time.
our
it's
two-
All the threats.
RC and Beast Wars are in it. You
From
can
both
count
your
me out
past
right now. There are no female Transformers,
future.
and Beast Wars is gay.
You've never faced anything like this. Let them come.
Oh, was it obvious that I came? I was looking at an inappropriate picture.
Oh my god. Well, and they're showing all the Beast Wars logos.
What a wonderfully diverse cast. That's what I like about this movie. For this trailer, I guess.
And
Oh,
look,
it's
they're trying to
exclusive.
bring Jazz back because Jazz always had a black guy's voice in the cartoon and in the first movie. And he would like talk and rhyme and turkey talk all the time. Like, hey there, Prime, you be looking kind of fat, turkey. You know, like it was
Oh gosh.
stuff you could get away with now.
So so for the people who have seen that, so you're saying like the human, like so far we saw two. Were they ever established in the movie? Is this still done by Baywatch or Baywatch? Is this still done by Bay? No, it's
I
director
actually
don't
Stephen
know.
Caple Jr. Oh, okay.
He moved on, but they retain his like the aesthetic and style. So they
Oh.
still keep it all Bayverse style of Transformers, which honestly are like almost all terrible too. There's a few exceptions in the mix, but like they basically all just look like spiny, stupid, weird heaps of shit mashed together. It's like Transformers shouldn't look like heaps of junk mashed together. It should look like a car or a vehicle of some kind that has separated into a human-esque form with head, arms, and legs, but is still reminiscent of that thing that they're supposed to be. Not just a bunch of random junk smashed in a
they-
pile.
They went so deep into like the sci-fi cyborg side of it, and it just kind of ruined the feel.
Oh. Wait, Chaos says Ron Perlman is Optimus Primus or Optimus
Lord.
Prime, I'm assuming. Is that
No,
He's the-
true?
so the gorilla. This is the big contention. There's Optimus Prime, that's the truck, and Optimus
Uh-huh.
Primus, that's the gorilla. It's very confusing and dumb and stupid.
Wait, are these just made up Transformers or were they actually based on something?
No,
I mean,
they're
these-
based on something. Here's the catch. When they made these things,
Uh-huh.
like Beast Wars or Generation 1 or like there was no continuity in place between these universes. So yeah, you would have a giant ape that had an Optimus Prime face, but you just called him Optimus Primal. You know, you just gave him this generic name. So then they had to retroactively in the 2000s try to figure out ways to connect all this stuff together instead of just leaving it separate and letting it be what it was. And unfortunately, it's caused things like this where now you got to figure out how to deal with a truck named Optimus Prime and a gorilla named Optimus Primal. And the fact that Beast Wars just shouldn't have existed at all. It's the stupidest fucking Transformers toy line that was ever made. They all look retarded. Why do they have fur? Why do they look like real animals? It's ridiculous. We established in G1 they still look like a robot, but they're an animal. You don't.
Wait a
I
minute.
just like
So
Beast
Optimus
Wars, I take Beast Wars personally, you guys. It personally offends me like I'm a POC, but for Transformers. I'm an SJW POC for Transformers, and I get personally offended whenever I see anything Beast Wars, and it makes me super pissed off. And to this day, I hate that fucking toy line. I hate those toys. I hated that I had to go to Toys R Us in 1995, and there was not a single car left that turned into a robot. That they had pushed G2 out, and it was now all about Beast Wars. And I had to look at stupid alligators that was just a bunch of parts smushed in the middle. I had to look at a stupid toy of a rat that was all just stuff pushed in the middle. Like they didn't even have a transformation. They just put them all on ball joints and mashed everything inside of a shell. Like they were the worst fucking toys. I hate them. And I wish the world would get together with me and instead of having a book burning, we have a Beast Wars burning where we try to genocide the earth of all the Beast Wars toys. Sorry, guys, my German's coming out of me again. Can't
You
help
sound
it. I'm from
upset.
Cincinnati. I hate Beast Wars.
Okay, cool.
I think
Eight-
like Beast Wars
eight-
probably would have done better if it just didn't look like garbage.
Now there is a weird little generation that loves them, but it's very small
Yes.
and very niche because
That's-
G1 is where it's at, and it's just
Wow.
Beast Wars are an insulting toy line.
That's crazy. So wait a minute. So the gorilla is Optimus Primus?
Optimus
Yes.
Primal.
Oh,
Primal.
Primal?
Yeah.
Oh.
Optimus Prime.
And it's
is the
voiced by Ron Perlman. Oh, Optimus Prime, I know.
Yeah.
So okay, because I'm just going off of Chaos thing. He said Primus, so I guess he meant Primal. So-
Nice going, Chaos. Look what you did to Craig. Live on air? Jesus Christ. Chaos.
I'm confused. No,
We
I'm
all know that Primus is the like Cybertron. It's the heart of Cybertron. You can't just the opposite of Unicron. You can't be getting your names mixed up like this.
Yeah, Primus is actually badass. Like that toy and that concept, like it'd be hard to execute to scale correctly with your other toys because it'd have to be as big as like a house.
Ow. Yeah,
But, yeah,
massive.
but it's still a really sweet concept. Like the first time I saw Unicron and then Cybertron transformed into Primus, like slugging it out in a comic book, I was like, oh man, this gets me going right here. Look at this shit. Two robots the size of planets punching each other. This
I
is
did-
insane.
He purposely did it. He said, "I did that to damage Greg. I'm proud of myself." Rude, very rude.
Very rude.
So my biggest thing out of this whole thing is that this is claiming it's wants to tell a story about Black and Latin culture, but then they got it. And if Ron Perlman is voicing Optimus Primal, he's white.
Wait, what are you trying to say, Greg?
Sounds like he needs to step down.
Yeah, I'm
think-
saying like
If this is a true,
The wonderful,
I'm not gonna
uh,
finish this joke. It'll get me canceled before I've even started my career.
wait, what's up?
Nothing.
Oh, a joke. I'm just
all right.
following-
Joe, do I need to explain it to him? Should I?
Go,
Wait,
go
what?
for it. No,
Okay, Greg.
Wait, what's
We're gonna-
happening?
We're gonna dip into the world of racism. It's a story
Right.
about black and brown people. Yeah,
Well,
you're
what
complaining
story?
that they got a white man to voice Optimus Primal, but they can't
Oh.
put a black or brown man to voice the gorilla
because
because
then they would be canceled.
that might be actual racism.
But I was going off of the wonderful voice actor Jameson Pierce, who voiced Chad from Bleach. Because I thought black people don't have enough access, so one should step down, right?
Oh, they
That's
don't.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah, they definitely don't. But like
You're
they're,
canceled, Craig.
they're stuck in a hard place right here. It's like, okay, do we
What?
put a black/brown person to voice the monkey, or
What's so I don't understand. What's
it's because back in the ye olden days of mega racism, when it was like mainstream, a lot of racists compared black people to apes.
that seems very rude.
It
Oh,
was
it was. They
very-
were also from Africa and supposedly came from jungles, so it just all added up to Optimus Primal can't be voiced by a black man. And I kind of get why. I wouldn't either. I'll be
understandable.
honest, if I was in control of this movie and I had all the money these studios have, I'd be like, hell no, we ain't doing that. What are you trying to do? Get me tarred and feathered by some liberals? Fuck that.
Absolutely.
Cast a
I
white
would
guy.
hire the best black man voice actor to voice the monkey, just because not because of racism, just to watch the meltdown. I'll say, no, he had the best voice. Are you trying to tell me that I didn't make the correct choice by hiring the black man who I thought had the best voice for the character?
Can you imagine if Samuel Jackson got the gig and he was all like,
You hear
He's all like,
Optimus just say,
"Fuck
fuck.
you, Optimus Prime." Yeah.
Fuck you, Megatron.
Yeah, so seriously, Greg, you didn't figure out, dude. I'm fucking with you. That was some Norm Macdonald trolling I just did there. So you're welcome.
We got time to kill here, Chaos.
No. Yeah, like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this is. I mean, even Joe, what you were saying about like the whole Beast Wars thing, like, again, like the fact that someone sat down and said, "Look, we need to do a new Transformers: Rise of the Beast, and we need to make sure that we tell a story about Black and Latin culture."
It's got built-in irony all over it. I know.
I know.
You're,
Oh my
you're
god.
a person just looking at this and they're talking about how it's supposed to be a story about black and brown culture, and then you see a giant robot gorilla come running up out of the woods. Yeah, it's like, okay, guys, maybe you should have said it's a movie about robots. That would that would have actually kept you in the clear, liberals.
Okay.
But instead, you guys they expose themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They show you how stereotypical their brains actually work in comparison to people that just want robots.
So, according to this, it says asked about the outlet for his feelings on being given the reins to such a major franchise. So I'm assuming they're talking about Capel Jr. here. The director jovially observed, "You came straight out the gate with that one," before answering in earnest, "It's been an emotional ride." Well, that right there, if I was the producer, I would immediately fire him.
The only emotion you should have in regards
Yeah.
to Transformers is when Optimus Prime died in the 1989 movie.
Yeah, you're
It's
allowed to be a little sad for a minute as a
Wow.
male.
Spoiler,
that's-
please.
That's the only time you're allowed to be sad, and every other second of Transformers, you better be hyped out of your mind.
Yeah, there should be no sadness except for that one moment.
So Steven says it's been 2 years now. Transformers: Rise of the Beast Star. Oh wait, I see. It's been 2 years now. So Anthony Ramos and I talk about having this type of opportunity, but also understanding it's our time. He recalled, for us to be in this position where we can tell a story about our culture, our people, and see ourselves portrayed on the big screen, blending in with these vast genres is special. And that right there is the problem. Why is your first goal to? What does Transformers have anything to do, robots, specifically with Latin and Black culture?
Nothing at all. It has nothing to do with any Earth culture in any shape or form. Earth was just a location temporarily. That's it. It's about Cybertronian culture.
I mean,
That's
if we
who
want to get
caused
into the deep psychology of this,
There was no deep psychology.
Autobots,
The show was written for like
Decepticons.
6-year-old boys.
well, we got the Autobots, we got the Decepticons. One's red
Yeah.
and one's kind of a darker blue.
Hmm.
I don't like the
That's
social
true.
commentary. This is a bad movie. It's being racist.
I think that Optimus Prime is like Ron DeSantis, and Megatron is like
Oh.
Barack Obama.
I wasn't even doing like Republicans versus Democrats. I was going like Bloods versus Crips.
Oh, Bloods versus
Oh.
Crips. That's even cooler
I
because
was
that's
thinking-
actually a badass theme. I will watch something about Blood Crypt robots fighting each other because that sounds awesome. You've just
Then we
made me
get-
happy.
We just get like 40 jazzes, and then they're just kind of painted red and blue, and they just gung ho out in the middle of Chicago again.
I was thinking of Rip Torn. I miss him.
Wrong color Porsche. Pop, pop, pop.
I'm just fucking around. There are not too many people on the actor or director side to be in this position on this scale and scope.
There are plenty of people who are on like
One, there are
all
plenty of people. Two, if you're seriously saying that, I'm going to assume, well, I shouldn't assume, I guess I should do the right thing and look up Stephen Caple Jr. and see what ethnicity he is. Don't want to race him or something.
Ethnicize him.
Yeah, misethnize him. And there we go. Okay, I had a feeling. Seems like a nice gentleman. Well, one, going back to that stupid retarded comment. One, I guarantee you there's a lot of people who have that opportunity in there. Two, if they don't, maybe it's the people that you suck ass to is the real problem. And they're not going to give up their power.
No, they'll tokenize a director or actors. They do it all the time. They always have. They always will. I mean, there's a reason Whoopi Goldberg changed her last name to Goldberg.
I played
She had
this
to
clip
impress
before,
somebody,
but I'll play it again.
Hollywood.
There you go.
Diversity clout.
Yep.
I
that's
liked
what it is.
how I liked how everyone, not everyone, but how certain news outlets were so upset that Elon fired more women than men from Twitter. I'm like, well, that means they were clearly being overrepresented anyways. So
Transformers Armada. What's that, Ryan?
Oh,
And
it
Joe?
was it was like an early 2000s Transformers cartoon. Probably one of the best cartoons, probably like right behind G1.
I gotcha.
no,
matter
here's
how
the
many-
catch. None of the cartoons were that good in the States. Like, we're always comparing like turds to turds. Like, they had good concepts or cool characters, but they weren't good in the sense of like what you consider like well written stories, well thought out dialogue. Like, if you're a little kid, it's fun, but it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
none of it's actually like actually good. But and this is coming from a guy that loves Transformers. But if you want the good, what you do is when G1 stopped in the States, it was still roaring strong in Japan. So Japan took over the reins on everything. Hasbro just said, you know what? You guys have your way with it. We don't even care like what you make in terms of a cartoon. We're not going to air it any longer here. And Japan kept it going with a few series. They had Victory, Master Force, and a short run called Zone that led into a manga storyline that kept G1 going. But like Victory and Master Force, specifically Master Force, those are like really, really good G1 related Transformers cartoon. Animation is really good because it was all Japanese now. There was no influence from America.
Ooh, it does look good.
Uh-oh.
So,
No, Joe.
Joe, what happened?
oh, I don't. Did you lose me?
Yeah,
you,
you
like-
for a second.
Disappeared for a second.
Well, maybe my net cut out for a second. Spectrum's been very wishy-washy for like a week now around
oh,
here.
gosh. Yeah, I've noticed
It's
that
all
too.
dude. The fiber optics, like you literally have to live.
Oh no.
You literally fell out again.
I swear to God.
That was perfectly timed. You're like, you're like the optics, dude, and then just gone.
It's probably gonna happen again, like any minute now. Wouldn't surprise me.
Damn it.
Well, I'm not
Damn
going to
it,
read
Joe,
any
why'd
more
you
of
have
this
to tell me
article
about
because
this?
it
Now I want to
sounds
watch all
retarded,
these now.
and I have no interest anymore.
Well, check out Victory or Master Force, specifically Master Force. Like those are really good, well done representations of Transformers, even though they're mostly characters we didn't get much of in the States. A little they weren't totally not here. They just, Transformers was on the decline when they hit, and they just didn't have the for the memory power that Optimus Prime or Dinobots or characters like that had.
Yeah.
Joe is close to killing again. Is the Unicron trilogy an anime?
I think that's
I'm not. I don't know anything. This is all new to me, so I can't answer.
what is that like Energon realm, I think?
Yeah, it's Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. Although Cybertron technically, I've fallen back down the Transformer rabbit hole here recently. And like Cybertron wasn't even meant to be like a sequel to Energon, but like the American side of it turned it into one.
Yeah,
That's why it just like makes no sense in continuity.
yeah. No, it's always been an issue with Transformers in terms of like the separate universes, and I think they should have just avoided trying to connect things because all it did was make it silly and contrived. Like now you have to invent like like just basically it just turns into a multiverse situation. There's nothing more like lazy than multiverse explanations for things at this point. There was a time when it was original, at time's long and gone, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
Now
it's just
now
my
it's- multiverse is now an excuse of, well, let's do this. Let's pander to this crowd. Let's make a story with X representation. Miles Morales. Oh no.
What if Optimus Prime was non-binary and only spoke in ones? Refused to say zeros. It would be amazing.
Oh, the whole Miles. What started that again? I noticed that was trending again on.
I don't know. I put
Oh,
my little spice onto it and then left it alone.
It's just a trick. It's just this thing where like SJW, like pop culture nerds, and these are people that don't even read the comics, which makes it even more sad. So they don't even have context to what they're complaining about. If you just say that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man and that
Oh,
Peter
they just-
Parker is Spider-Man, as in Miles Morales is never going to be remembered the same. Like Peter's always going to be the Spider-Man. It
Yeah,
sets
that's
these
what I.
people.
When
Literally,
you hear
what
the
I
word
think out of it.
Spider-Man, you think of Peter Parker first. You don't think of Miles Morales. You don't think of
No.
Gwen Stacy. You don't think of any of these other like iterations. It's Peter Parker. That's Spider-Man.
Yeah. It is, and it makes liberals crazy that don't even buy the comics, and we know it's the numbers show that nobody buys them.
Chaos says,
They're
why
always
do
the first to think.
why do Americans do more damage than good when it comes to making movie? It's because they don't have the heart of the film.
It's because the people in charge of those industries are mentally ill to the max and extremely out of touch. You know, there's plenty of Americans that still want and can come up with creative and new and good ideas. Those people are kept out. You know, they're not, at least right now, they're not going to be allowed back in because merit has no value
It-
in terms of entertainment in this country.
It goes back to the fact that Hollywood got gate kept like back in the 60s, and they've kept it ever since. And
Yeah.
we're just now coming around like, all right, we need to stop this. And we're trying to finally create an alternative source of entertainment. But that's the hard part, is they have a literal like 80-year head start.
Mhm.
And they've bought out
Who was
all the movie
talking
theater chains, so it's like you can really only go to like direct on demand, or you have to make your own streaming service.
By the way, Joe, looks like you broke that 76K.
Hey,
Woo! Yeah, boy.
Nice.
Ironically, I got a retweet from Razor Fist, and that
Yeah,
sent
I
it
saw
all
that.
over the top.
Dude,
you know?
nice.
Yeah,
I
thought
haven't
that was
I
pretty cool of him.
don't really follow Razor Fist, but that's awesome.
I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan in the world, but I've watched his videos. I know who he is, and it's mostly from his music stuffs where I found him from because I listen to a lot of the same kind of just like
Mhm.
off the beaten path metal bands and black metal stuff from Scandinavian area. Like I know the context of what he's talking about when it's things that aren't really like that known to a normie here in the States.
Mhm.
But
Oh, yeah.
he's a good entertainer, so I really appreciated a guy with that scale of audience to give me a little bump. A retweet can do a lot of good for someone in my position.
Yeah.
In terms of the entertainment totem pole, I'm a lot lower and he's a lot higher, and it bodes well. And I think Anna retweeted it right before him, and I'm willing to bet money he saw it because of her, because I know they're
That's
more
awesome.
familiar with each other. So she did me a big favor, and then I know it's just a click of a button, but it matters. And in
Well, that's
turn,
the
he
beauty of it.
saw it. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
was
you
super
cracked.
pumped. Got me over the hump.
Yeah, you cracked
Razor.
76K, and you're almost close to 1,000 backers. That's awesome. You just need 4 more.
Yeah.
Nice.
That
Yeah,
means that
thank
like,
you,
on
guys. Go.
average, people were spending like $70 on it.
Mhm.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, guys. Anybody new that watches this show, check out Joe's Death graphic novel. Look at that shit.
Well, dude, early on, I got like a little bit of, not a lot, I don't want to exaggerate, but a little bit of heck from people that really only know Western comics well about like why bother having a manga on there. And I was just like, dude, if you haven't been following manga sales numbers, I don't know what to tell you. But
Oh yeah.
that's like my second high selling one. I think I'm almost to like 500 copies sold of just the manga edition. Because you have the 3-pack and the individual. So if you add the numbers from the 3-pack and the individuals, it's 200 some for each. So I was like, I didn't even realize till someone asked me like a day or two ago, like, what were your numbers on the manga? And I was like, shit, I probably only sold like 100 of them. And then I went over and looked and was like, oh wow, no, yeah, there's actually a lot of them.
You can put a big old X through this one. Reached.
Yeah, I got to go do updates over there. I haven't done an update in about a month and a half. So I need to get over to Indiegogo tonight and make sure I do a proper update and try to think of something for the 100K stretch goal. I don't even know what to do. So
well, that's awesome.
I don't want
the manga thing too, because that's originally what I was going to grab too, but I just kept falling in love with this coloring, so I upgraded mine. Get that color.
What? It's cool that like I didn't even realize it was going to go this way till I started actually like working on each format. But like the more I would look at the pages from like the black and white to the grayscale versions to the color versions, I was like, it's the same book, but it feels like 3 different books. Like there's a different tone and feeling you have on pages. Like the line art pages, everything just feels spookier. The color one, everything feels more like you're being immersed in a world. And the black and white and the grayscale one feels just like this weird in between where you're immersed, but you still have a little bit of the spook factor because there's no color. But
you guys talk real quick. I'll be right back.
Right on.
But yeah, it looks great, and I saw Razor retweet it, and Razor's been on a big kick because he's just about to release his second book, Death Mask, which go support that too. And,
yes,
he's real big on pushing this alternative market with Eric, you, himself. He's trying to like build this thing. He even coined the term the Iron Age of comics. Because it's like,
I was wondering where that came from because I've heard that floating around lately, and I was like, I wonder who thought that up because that's new. As a comic guy, like I knew I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, he's the one that coined it, and he's really pushing because right now, just with like, if there's one thing we can thank COVID for, it's the fact that it helped like kick out the legs of a bunch of these establishment like entertainment spheres. Because it made them realize they are not what they thought they were. And we're in a boom of individual creativity.
Well, it always takes something like that. You know what I mean? Like we can look back in history and realize like why some things just excelled within like a few years in comparison to the gradual changes you see in other aspects of entertainment where it's more just technology is changing. It's like, no, it takes these like weird events in history sometimes where it's just there's no other option. They're going to take probably whatever the most easy, accessible, cheapest version of something. It's kind of like why the Wii sold. You had all these systems people were super pumped for. And the reason every kid had a Wii was because they could afford one. Their parents were like, $400 for a PlayStation 3. You got to be kidding me, little guy. We're in a recession. So
we're just talking about we're talking about how we're in an age of individual creativity to screw the big names right now.
Yeah. Only good thing the Wii, well, technically the Wii U is good for is it's easy to soft mod. That's what I did. But I soft mod the Wii as well.
True. Yeah.
And then
I've got a Sega, a Super Nintendo, a Nintendo. I got every system you can think of modded into my Wii.
That's all. Yeah. I mean, that's where I stand with. That's where I guess I still get nervous with the whole digital thing because if these the kind of like with the whole thing with banking and stuff like that, where it's like if you have wrongthink, your bank could just shut you down, sort of thing. I look at it the same way with the gaming industry. If you download a bunch of digital stuff and you get well known and you have different opinions, what's for you to wake up one day and go, oh yeah, we don't have any registration of you buying those games again. Looks like you're gonna have to buy them again, sort of
Oh,
stuff.
and that's the big controversy right now with them is like if you get banned off of Steam or Xbox Live or whatever, and you have a ton of digital assets, you lose all of them. You could spend $2,000 on games and you have no access to them anymore.
Bullshit.
And it's
That's
someone needs
that's
to file like,
insane.
they're one big lawsuit away from like cracking the code on digital like ownership, because that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing right now is like digital movies, digital music, digital games. You get banned from any of these services and you've dumped a ton of money into it.
I remember
bad.
that back in when I was back in college, like 2010, like the whole when iTunes was really starting to become popular and buying music from Apple. That was
Yeah.
the big controversy is you don't technically own it. You've rented it for a long extended period of time, and if something happens to you, boom, it's gone. Uh-oh. We've got
Oh,
some
no. The bots.
oh dude. I'm gonna bookmark that website. Be gone, thought. But yeah, like, but it's so funny because it's starting to come the way, like, especially with the censorship sort of stuff too. Especially if a company makes a game, they go to distribute it, and the other companies and stuff is like, well, that doesn't pass our thing, so you got to change this and stuff like that. One, that's why again I like the modding community and the ROM hacking community, because people will uncensor stuff so you can truly experience what the creators wanted to show you, whatever it may be. Again, it comes down to being the responsible either adult or parent for what your kids are playing and stuff like that. And Chaos says, I didn't see any bots. Don't worry, I sniped them real quick. But yeah, and like these companies need to wake up like very quickly. Like what you were saying, Ryan. If it's teetering on the edge, people are just getting tired of being treated like idiots. It's like you don't need to shield us from bad information. You don't need to shield us from certain stuff. Slap the rating on, and then we will decide what to purchase and stuff. And this is just happening in general with these big tech companies. They're making it to where, well, we have to be responsible to make sure that you guys are safe. It's like, no.
Well, it's all based on political leanings, though. I think if there was some good faith there, that they were honestly worried about kids, it'd be different. But we know they're not. We find out half these people are pedophiles, like years after they've lost their job or something. Anyways, it's like, we know you don't care. Like, stop with your fake, silly act of pretending to be concerned about things you're really not concerned about. Because if this is the most you can do in terms of concern, it tells me you're not concerned. People that are worried about certain things are very active in it.
I saw that Chaos. We'll look into it here. Yeah, I have Niche Gamer pulled up, so I think it'd be cool just I'll scroll through and see what video games stand out that look pretty dope. I don't know if any of you guys, if you happen to see anything, saw any games that you were interested in.
I still think that UFC game you were looking at looked pretty awesome. Like that one kind of stuck with me.
Dude, that one was dope.
Which one?
Yeah.
It's I think it's, I don't know if it's actually made by a AAA game, but it's a game based back in the 90s with alien, like the UFO alien encounters and stuff like that. And you're a guy that's trying to get through, like, connect with your other neighbors and stuff, and aliens abductions are happening. And while you're trying to contact with other people of your neighborhood, aliens will just show up out of nowhere and like probably try to take you and abduct you.
Grays with like a black jumpsuit on, like ones that look like almost out of the 60s in a way. but it's set in the 90s when
Yeah,
you know
let me see if I can find
X-Files
that.
movies have.
I'll definitely play that one again. That was dope.
Yeah, that sounds
It's like
interesting.
it's like Grand Theft Auto for aliens.
It's like destroy all humans from the human perspective.
Kind of, yeah.
I actually still need to play. I actually heard that series is pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was like one of the
Oh,
better
yeah.
ones. And THQ Nordic actually did a really good remaster. Or not remaster, they remade it, but they were like very, very faithful to it.
Man, I can't. Dang it, I can't remember what it's.
Can't remember what it's called.
They announced Hades 2, which
Oh,
looks
did they?
interest- Yeah, but it looks like
Nice.
it's a prequel. Better.
Oh.
I don't know. It looks interesting. You're not playing as Zagreus. I know that much.
This one looked pretty cool. The Lords of the Fallen.
Oh yeah, that's actually funny story about that. That is a sequel to a game that came out back in like 2014. This is that's gonna be one of the most confusing games ever because the original was called Lords of the Fallen, but it didn't do really well, and it's like a Souls like ripoff type game.
I
so
noticed
this-
like from right here, like that picture.
Yeah, and so it's like it's a Souls style game, but the first game is literally called Lords of the Fallen, and then they make a sequel 8 years later called The Lords of the Fallen, and it's like y'all couldn't have just called it Lords of the Fallen 2.
It's like Alien and then Aliens because there's more than
Yeah,
one.
it's like could y'all not have just changed the name slightly? You could have just said Lords of the Fallen asterisk. It happened before, happened a millennium after. It's like the same name.
This is called, well, this is saying that The Lords of the Fallen is a reboot and it introduces an all new epic RPG adventure in a vast interconnected world. Let's see, after an age of the cruelest tyranny, the demon god Adar was finally defeated, but gods do not fall forever. So eons later, his resurrection's coming upon as one of the fabled Dark Crusaders journey through both the realms of the living and the dead in the RPG. Colossal boss battles, fast challenging combat, thrilling character encounters, and deep immersive storytelling. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one does compared to the first one because the first one was okay, but it was not great. Story was very confusing. The world was not good, and a lot of the enemies were just terrible.
Well, for anyone watching, it's on Niche Gamer. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere, but we have some key features here that if people wanted to check out, see what's up. I want to check out this. And it says, oh, good, and it's actual gameplay. I hate it when they don't like showcase like gameplay.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think, real quick, that's one of the things a lot of companies I think need to get away from is they're starting to just show for the trailer the cinematic scenes of stuff, and it's like, well, I want to see what the gameplay is, because in the end, I don't care what the cutscene looks like, because at this point, it better be like beautiful. It's expected to be it. If it's not, then something's very wrong. But that should not be a selling point anymore.
Yeah.
All right, minute 45. Check that out.
Holy Aureus, giver of life and light.
Yeah, those little spires, that's the hand of the god.
Oh, is it? Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shield
there
our
you go.
souls with grace, our hearts with hope.
Uh-oh. Good thing Biden banned
And guide our
lynching,
path
made it a federal
eternal.
crime.
Turn our gaze from what lies beyond your luster, where wickedness dwells, and the shadows reign. Arm us with your golden splendor, so that together may we vanquish the darkness. In light, we walk.
Oh yeah, very Dark Souls.
Lords of the Fallen.
I mean,
Okay.
the first game, it looked good. It was just gameplay and all that just wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks good.
Uh-oh,
Uh,
something for Nick. Doesn't he
I still
like
need to play
Warhammer?
the first one.
He
Space
likes
Marine.
Warhammer, right?
Oh yeah, and I've been diving into it myself just because it's
Oh, nice.
honestly kind of fun.
Chaos is threatening me to play the Tekken 8 trailer. Why? What else is there to a fighting game? I'm just kidding. We'll look through it.
I'm not really into like tabletop or like RPG games or Warhammer or D&D or any of that. Like in terms of playing
This
it.
one, I was
Well,
But
that,
something
that-
about Warhammer is so insanely over the top that I feel
Mhm.
like it's impossible not like I'll still sit and listen to videos of people just explaining it and talking about the world and the different sects fighting each other and where they all derive from, and it's so ridiculous. Like it's awesome. Even
Yeah.
just the pageantry of it is absolutely nuts. Like I one time I had a dude just give me a bunch of old Warhammer stuff from like the early 90s or the mid 90s, like just in a basket, like junk he was just getting rid of. I was like, this tank has a robot's head, a chainsaw arm, a chainsaw penis, a chainsaw, like a gun sticking out of its throat. Like it was just the most ridiculous it was like you would have thought Japanese people came up with it. Like it's so over the top, and I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Warhammer just from like a purely design look and aesthetic. It's like a sixth grade boy's ideas all exploded into something that was drawn artistically well. Because all these guys got this armor on with their little bitty heads, and just endless amounts of armor and regalia coming out of them. It's so awesome, dude. I love it. It's ridiculous.
I
It
just
gave
love
me-
it because it's the perfect blend of like sci-fi meets religion type stuff.
Oh, that too. That makes it even more awesome. You know, it adds. It's almost like not the Crusades, but a little bit like it, like getting the Crusades put in the most weird, whacked out sci-fi way possible,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't really get into playing it because I don't have the time for that stuff, but I wish I could, you know, because it looks
Yeah.
so cool.
You need a lot of time and you need a lot of money.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. I tried to stock Warhammer stuff in one of my stores, and I was like, oh! I was looking at the distributor prices.
You look down at a little figure that's about that big, and how much is it? $120.
Yeah, come again.
What?
Yeah,
Pardon?
I don't think I heard you the first time.
Pardon, sir. Please,
carve
sir.
one out of a piece of soap. Goodbye.
I just saw a thing for the new Star Wars Jedi Fallen. I need to play that, the first one still.
First one was pretty good. Story's honest, like in my opinion, no spoilers. Story's kind of short, I will say, but
Is it?
it's one of the better like Star Wars games.
So this
it
one looks
does
pretty.
it does
Oh,
come
go
with its
ahead.
own like continuity problems, but
Oh, really? Mm.
we'll talk about those another time.
So this caught my eye. Banishers, Ghosts of the New Eden.
Hmm.
New colonial era action. Okay, another action RPG where you hunt ghosts. Ooh,
That sounds
Interesting.
cool.
New Eden, 1695.
1695.
What's up?
I was just reading the date of 1695. It's like, oh boy, I can't wait for Jebediah and the other pilgrims to go banish Wendigos in the Appalachia.
Yeah. In 1695, banishing ghosts to stay alive. Let's see. So, ghost hunters who vow to protect the living from the threat of lingering ghosts and specters. Antia is fatally wounded, becoming one of the spirits she loathes. Ooh, you're a female in
Women.
the haunted wilds of North America. The couple desperately searches for a way to liberate Antia from her new plight. Immerse yourself in a beautiful, intimate, and powerful story between two fated lovers. Oh, that's cool. So you
Let me
can play
guess, it was
as
Forbidden Love.
the forbidden love, or as I learned in Mike Tyson Mysteries, you never have sex with a ghost.
We have to appreciate the creativity in the names. We got Antea and
And
Red.
Yeah, red. So we battle the supernatural forces with magic, of course, weapons, which I'm assuming are endowed with magic, because how do you use a weapon to fight ghosts? And spiritual powers.
I tell you how you use a weapon to fight ghosts. It's called a blunderbuss.
Oh, true.
Shotgun.
Characteristics of renowned studio Don't Nod. I'm not familiar with that studio.
Oh, they made a game, I think it was called like Don't Forget or Remember Me, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Back in
Let's
the-
see.
They're like a
See what
French
we got.
developer. Oh, I think they also made first Life is Strange. Maybe. If I remember that right. Oh yeah, they're definitely going for the
You're a
forbidden love.
banisher, eh?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the
You
interracial.
want ghosts, right? You must have seen some strange things. We had our share. Yes. But I've never seen a ghost myself. But they are real. Right?
Maybe. I don't know. Kind of iffy about ghosts.
So what? You track and kill him. Is that it?
They really die when I kill them.
See, when you interact with a ghost, oh, there you go.
We banished.
They're only mostly dead. Oh, that's cool. I don't want to see gameplay though.
I shall wish you a good hunt, then. It takes a brave man to walk these wilds alone.
Oh, come on. Oh, here we go. Nice.
A bone walker.
Oh. I mean, I'm intrigued by it. Pretty cool.
Me too, but I think at the end the boss is going to be the ghost chick he's in love with, and you have to fight her because she's trying to like leave her toothbrush and shampoo and shit over her apartment at the end. So
All
like
for
he's
a
gonna have to
toothbrush.
just, yeah, like she's trying to leave her shit at his apartment without even asking, so he has to go fight her off as the boss at the end. You will not move in with me, hot female ghost.
His cabin. Oh, here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Transformers, there's a new co-op action game apparently, just for you guys, by Splash Damage. That's a pretty cool name. Chaos apparently hates the dev name Don't Nod. So 1 to 4 player online action game. Actually, one of the Transformer games that I heard was really good to play is the ones that are like Dynasty Warriors, the Muso games. I heard those are pretty good.
I think
don't
the
think
War
I've
for
played 'em.
Cybertron series is looked at pretty fondly, at least in its
Oh,
time.
yeah.
I remember, like kids loving it and adults loving it
Uh-oh.
all alike.
It was a great like revamp of Transformers, like going back to its origins. And
It
but
looked
sucks
good.
because it sucks because EA just
This
cut
ain't
it and
working.
you can't play them anymore. You have to
Oh,
go buy,
really?
like, they discontinued it. You can't get it on Steam. You can't get it anywhere. You literally have to go and try and find physical copies of it, or if you're willing to, sail the high seas.
I have my sources to get stuff,
We should melt it down for ammo.
which it's kind of starting to become that way too.
And we're live.
Come on, big guy.
Sequencing at 17%. Loading memory core now.
It's all the same. Only the names will change. And every day it seems we're wasting away.
Seeing Transformers. Okay. I was gonna say there's not a whole lot of transforming robots over there.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
All right.
No, this does not look like
Let's get
Trains. Not
lucky.
right now.
Summer cowboy on a steel horse I ride.
Interesting.
That's
run.
sad because
There we go.
Transformers is so easy.
Dead
It really
or
is.
alive.
Like it's built in easy. Like it should be such a lot put into making it good because all the good stuff's already done for you.
I never got into. I tried getting into Diablo 3. I never played the originals. I do like.
Diablo's kind of for old school gamers though. Like that's
Yeah.
there's there's a certain group of people that are just they love Diablo and that's been their thing for ever. You know.
There is a game in here though that I am excited for, and that's Baldur's Gate 3. Because I loved Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Let's
I don't
see.
know anything about it, to be honest.
It's like a Dungeons and Dragons game. I forget
Okay.
which edition it's based on.
I think 3rd edition.
1 and 2, yeah, I think they were the 3rd edition, and this one they're using the 5e, and they're really. Oh, here we go. Speak. There it is, right there. Trailer looks. I like the trailer because a character from the game. Well, there's the spoiler right there, Minsk. I think this doesn't have any. Well, isn't the beta out? So people should at least know the gameplay by then.
Tell me, why have you come here? We must all cure ourselves of the entire cult of the Absolute.
Ooh, mind
Traced
flayers.
people like you. People with parasites in their brains.
All the way here from Baldur's Gate.
Sounds like lore pit.
You may just be the godsend we've been praying for.
You're the same as me. You have a mind flayer tadpole in your brain. Let's try to find a solution together. Before it's too late.
There's a gust of weave about you, but it's a mere breeze. I need a tempest.
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
You want to play the hero so badly? Fine. Let's make this interesting.
Baldur's Gate 3 is closed, sadly. I played The Last of Us Part 2.
And we just
I'm
hope
sure I
that
can
when
handle
our time
Baldur's
comes,
Gate.
there is someone else to take our place.
My, this place is fun.
There's someone I want you to meet. A friend who sees the world in simple terms. Not just a friend. A legend.
Minsk. Boo better be in here.
He's not the kind of man who takes kindly to captivity. The cult captured him. I almost feel sorry for them.
He's one from the original games.
I thought that was Crocus from God of War.
Crocus. No, that
Yeah,
was
Crocus.
Minsk. That was Minsk. A berserker who hit his head on a rock and then believed that the hamster that was nearby when it happened talks to him. The hamster called Boo. And in the old games, he actually has like in his inventory Boo, and you can click him and he squeaks.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's actually I actually would recommend because they have Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, which should be available to like use on the current PC and stuff like that. I'd actually recommend playing that game. I enjoyed them.
It looks cool. It looks fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how they do it. Chaos is saying there are 3, or it's getting a little woke. Unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And just for you,
Everything's going
Chaos,
woke.
here's your stupid Tekken 8 trailer.
everything's going woke. It's just the question of how much woke can you deal with.
Yeah, how much?
What's your threshold of bullshit?
If something's pretty good, we can look past it. And that's all they got to understand. It's not like we're saying liberals can't have their fun. It's just, guys, just make sure your product's really, really good, and we'll just look past your dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Chaos. If this trailer's not a 10 out of 10, you're banished. It sucks. All right, get out of here.
Keep the cursor.
Oh, sorry.
Jin.
さあ全人類よ世界を闘争で満たせ頼むぞ風間陣お前を殺し全てを終わらせる俺の血を引いていながらこの程度か風俺はまた守れないのか
もろもろのまがこと罪汚れ清めましょう
Hey, Nico, what's up? You made it. Welcome. There you go. I mean, I never got into Tekken, so I don't really know what's happening. The one thing I will say with fighting games like that specific, as long as there's like a decent story, like I'm fine with fighting games.
Is that even a thing in fighting games?
A story?
Yeah, like I feel like every
more of
fighting
one.
game, it's like, pick your fighter, and it's like, all right, here we go. And then
Well, I mean,
occasionally,
like the
I'm
recent
still
Mortal
looking at the
Kombat
world of
games.
8-bit, so you guys got to remember that. Like I'm 8-bit in the brain. Like I don't play new
No,
stuff.
I get you. Sadly, Tekken has a weird story. I could tell with the cheetah looking guy pointing in the air that looked
King.
like a pro wrestler apparently. Wait, King? Is that his name?
His name is King.
Oh my gosh.
I
Wait a
think it
minute, doesn't Darkseid feel like playing as King in Tekken? I don't know.
Ask me. I ain't a DSP simp.
Nightingale gets new trailer.
I know what kind of
Electronic Arts
porn
reveal
walking.
new Magic FPS Mortals of Avium. Looks like Skyrim. King is a luchador, and that's a leopard mask. I couldn't remember what mask it was. Oh yeah, Death Stranding 2. I still need to finish Death Stranding. Did you guys ever play Death Stranding?
I've never played. I haven't played any of like the Kojima games.
Not,
I played
not
the
even
Metal
Metal Gear. I definitely would recommend the Metal Gear Solid series. In all honesty,
The only Metal Gear I want to play is like Rising Revengeance, just because all the memes that spawn from it.
It's actually a pretty sweet game. Like, I think you would probably enjoy it because you never played the Metal Gear Solid series, so you'll come in there with a fresh and open mind about it, which really what a lot of people gave it crap for, aside from memes aside and stuff like that. They were expecting it because it has Metal Gear slapped onto it. It's it's going to be that stealth game, but it's not. It's actually a pretty fun hack and slash.
Yeah, because it's made by Platinum, who only makes hack and slash
Yep.
games.
That
All I know is
one-
Senator Armstrong is like what I want all politicians to be.
Yep.
Maybe with not like so much natural selection built in, or not, or so much totalitarian. The weak must fear the strong, Jack.
Nanomachine, son.
Nanomachine, son.
I remember when the first Death Stranding hit, though, like visually, it looked super appealing to me. Like everything I saw from it, I was like, "This looks insane. This looks awesome." Because I only knew him from Metal Gear, so this was kind of like the first thing I had known about for Kojima outside of that. I mean, I'm sure he did other stuff. I'm just not a big enough gamer to know about it, you know.
Yeah, I think he's more well known for the Metal Gear Solid series. I would still recommend, like, obviously to anyone. Last of Us Part 1 remake launches for PC in early 2023. We're not going to watch that because fuck The Last of Us. At least Part 2. Part 1 was okay.
I heard that the remake, like all the graphic updates they're doing, just look terrible.
Well, I was actually going to connect that. That's great that you brought that up. Ryan sounds better as Armstrong than you, Greg. It's been a while since I've heard the Armstrong voice, so my apologies. But yeah, that's especially for you, Ryan, because you work in a developing atmosphere and in a career. And Melanie and Mac pointed it out too with the Dead Space remake. What is going on with all the stupid remastering and making people like who are supposed to be young and beautiful looking like old hags?
Yeah, I think it's a side effect of this dumb trend where it's like we need to make it look as realistic as possible. It's like, no, I want stylized games to come back. And that's I think why the indie development side of game world right now is doing so good, is because people are tired of God of War and all these other games looking hyper realistic and it's taking up so much space. And it's just like, I want a fun, silly slapstick style game again. Like growing up, I loved Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. I want more of those games back.
I need to play those. Jack and
those games are still like when I had my stores, we couldn't keep copies of those in. Like anytime we got used ones, they were gone right back out the door like in a week or less. Okay. And I didn't know they were like they had a following the way they did. And you're right, like even going back to the early 90s up until like PS2, there were tons of slapstick games. There were so many of them actually. It was a little overwhelming because studios would just try anything. They didn't care. You had Booger Man, for Christ's sake. You had a character that was a booger. Earthworm Jim type stuff. Like games were nuts for a while. So
that's why I get
that. You just want fun stuff again.
You had Conker's Bad Fur Day, where you literally fight a pile of shit.
Yeah, that game was huge. In fact, I'm surprised it never got sequels. Every kid I knew that had a 64 loved that game.
And Chaos, yeah, beauty is good. Like I'm not saying, but you can get beauty out of a game that doesn't look hyper realistic. Like
that's what I loved about.
With modern technology, you can make these character models smooth, but so stylized that you still get beauty out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I love 90s and 2000s, and I want to find more. Definitely want to make more connections with people like in the gaming industry around that time too, because at least with Doug, he agreed with me that like I mean, I guess you could even say with the like 80s, all the 90s, and then early 2000s, it's like what you said, Ryan and Joe. Like you could have anything. You could take that plunge and just try something, and it may work or it may fail. But like through that, you got a lot of awesome games that maybe became like a trilogy or something like that, but never really carried on, but they were good, or they were, at least decent and stuff. Now it's like, now we got to make it into an interactive movie.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I want women to look beauty, not old ass grandmas. Well, that's another weird thing I'm noticing too with a lot of these remakes, is especially with the females, they're like aging them grossly. And I do not I can take a guess why, but it literally is ridiculous that you change that much of an age difference.
Also, we can't like forget that there's an absolute concerted effort to kill boobs in games. Ass is fine all day, but boobs, too sexual.
The chicks are just looking like dudes now, like just ugly middle-aged guys.
Looking like dudes. There are some chicks out here that are dudes, my brother.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Abby was a beautiful woman.
Brittany Griner is the most handsome man in the WNBA.
That is, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to just be like rude or something like this towards another human being. That's not a woman. It's not.
I like to get like, not to give her credit, but like I think the Russians were a little concerned, and they actually did run a DNA test, and somehow she is a woman. Just like one of those like 1%ers where she just got like a shit ton of testosterone.
Well, I suppose that's feasible.
Hmm?
I said, I suppose that's feasible.
Yeah, Chaos. They did it to Isaac's girlfriend. Well, they did it with even with this, The Last of Us Part 1, the one chick that helps you out in the beginning. I believe the remake, they aged her too. It's retardo.
It's like they didn't realize that like Last of Us Part 1 happens like what 5 years before Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah,
trying to make everything look like Last of Us Part 2.
Well, that won awards for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but there's Hades too.
Yep. We'll click that one. I'm really hoping I can find that one alien one again, because I do want to watch that again. Let's see. Griner looks like she lives in a dumpster and fucks rats. My gosh.
Oh, good Lord.
Tell me how you really feel. Oh, there's an actual trailer? Nice.
Yeah.
So you said this is a prequel, Ryan?
I honestly don't know.
Oh.
What I did, I just did like a couple minutes worth of just looking into it, and a lot of people are suspecting it's going to be. But it could be a sequel. It's hard to tell.
It looks pretty awesome.
Oh, Hades is a great game. I'd recommend getting it.
Yeah, it's a roguelite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does the actual gameplay look like this animated style?
No, this is just a cinematic, but they do have gameplay here in a moment.
Okay.
Not good enough.
We can but learn. And the
Yeah,
greatest
not
Now go.
not like the animation per se, but the style is like at least in the first one. Oh, here you go.
This is an opportunity for you to make a better future for us all.
It's actually really unique because it's like a 2.5D, to where all the character models are 3D, but the entire environment's 2D. Like hand-drawn.
But it looks good instead of like a child that's not sure what it is.
Yeah, they made sure to stylize the 3D models to kind of fit in the 2D art style.
Vengeance for your family awaits you.
He is no mere titan. He is time itself, and time cannot be stopped.
Wait for me, Father. I'll be this.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really clever, Joe, because it uses. Were you gonna say something, Ryan?
I was gonna say go back, and I was wondering if they in that article if they name like the main character or anything.
Yeah, sure. It's really good, Joe, because it's one of those games where you replay it over and over and over, and it's like the same areas, but it randomizes the paths to get to the same specific areas every time, and it adds a little bit more to the story each time. So it does a really good job justifying like replaying it.
Yeah, it looks sweet. I'll have to check that out.
Let's see. Oh no.
Well, they're tight-lipped. Well, a lot of people are suspecting it's a prequel just because in like the Greek mythology, when the Titans were roaming the planet, Kronos had imprisoned Hades. But the only thing is that it looks like that's a kid between Hades and Persephone, and it's just like
wait,
I don't know.
The fuck is this? Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord announced.
At this point, anytime I see anything Ghostbusters related, I've never been a big Ghostbusters fan, but after like 2016, I just don't care about anything Ghostbusters related.
I have yet to see it. Watch Afterlife because it at least is okay. It justifies Ghostbusters 1 and 2 at least. What's it? Here's the article. Oh, thanks, Chaos. Gray Hill Incident. That's the one that we watched. Here we go. Here I was literally just going to scroll forever to find.
Scroll forever.
Scroll forever. Find that. Heart. Atomic Heart gives off a Bioshock look.
Yeah, they were going for like a Bioshock, but it's more of like the Russian atomic punk.
Oh. Okay. Might look into that one. Scars Above.
Hellboy.
Eternal. Oh.
What was
wait.
that, Vampire Hunter? Or
Dead Cells. Return to Castlevania DLC. Motion Twins have announced new DLC for their hit indie game, Dead Cells, and it's a crossover with the world of Castlevania. I mean, it's just a DLC. Let's see what we got. That one eyeball.
Already better than the Netflix show.
Oh, you didn't like the Castlevania Netflix show?
No.
No. I've only seen the first season. I thought it was okay.
Nah, they just didn't bother even including anything that made Castlevania cool. It's okay. It's like you had Symphony of the Night to do that final groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's ignore that. Just make it into another.
Is there actual gameplay of the footage? Not seeing it.
no, it looks like it's just an animated trailer.
Yeah. Interesting. Vampire Survivors, Attack on Titan VR, Unbreakable announced.
They're putting Vampire Survivors on mobile. People's phones are about to die. Good lord. Some PCs can't handle how bullet hell that game gets. Can't imagine putting it on a phone. Attack on Titan VR though? Ooh.
What's up? Yeah. We'll check that out. Let's see.
Probably...
Announced a new VR title based on Attack on Titan. It's expected to launch sometime in summer 2023 for the Meta Quest 2. No details were given. The upcoming title and the trailer is only a teaser, which shows no gameplay or anything else at all.
Figures.
Thank you, article, because I'm not going to watch it then. If...
Yeah, like, who cares at that point?
Oh, Adobe will begin selling
AI generated stock.
They're like, here's titties. Yeah. Well, we're going to sell pictures of
sorry,
AI.
Got distracted. And then for some reason we have Russia. Anywho, yeah, I'll bring up that Alien Survivor game again because that actually is got me going.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about earlier, Ryan. Alien Survivor horror game, Gray Hill Incident.
Okay.
So pretty cool. Takes place early 90s. Yeah, your neighborhood of Gray Hill is being invaded by UFO and all the gray aliens like popping up. Government's kind of like the
Uber based. They're lying.
You know, right? What's
like
it
Men
called?
in Black?
Huh?
Men in Black?
No, the actual the one specific UFO and the famous one.
Oh, Roswell?
Yeah, Roswell. Yeah. Definitely gives off a Roswell sort of idea too, but yeah, I want to watch this again. This was awesome.
Bob! Something very bad is happening!
My dad says the government is lying about everything.
Well, he's right. But don't worry, though. I'll protect you.
Oh, Lord.
Ryan, something is wrong with Joe Parson, the farmer, you know. He called me a few minutes ago. He was very afraid.
This movement that you'll see in a few seconds is just a reflection on the lens of the camera. There is no reason to concern.
This can't be our end. I don't want to end up as an alien experiment victim.
They put something in me.
And I look.
Go to the touch.
And behold,
In which barn? There's tons of them.
a stormy wind came out of the north. And you think he can secure you from the angels of God?
Father! Those aren't angels. This is an alien invasion.
Great bastard.
Was that Brandon? What did they do to him? I'm here! Rachel! No! No, not me!
And don't forget to be aware of the small green man in your backyard. You're Mr. Broker.
They are gray.
I love their walk cycle. It's like super simplistic, but like
It's
really
it's
creepy.
very creepy. Just hits the uncanny valley just right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely checking out this one.
Yeah, it looks
I-
it looks fun.
I had to sit here and laugh. There's something just so surreal about watching a clip of a dude take a baseball bat and beat an alien with it.
Hey,
And just hearing the thunk.
you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, that yeah, I like the walk cycle, and I loved how it looks like they did their research too, because Joe and I talked a little bit more about it when we first watched it. It looks like they did the research to kind of note, like, kind of incorporate what people who claims they've been abducted like experience, like them just showing up in a room out of nowhere sort of thing. And it definitely ties in with like the demonic fallen angels and that sort of stuff too, because they'll just, and even the Bible, that's when all the disciples were locked inside, Jesus just appeared out of nowhere and just showing up too. So I have a feeling they did their research on kind of like what people who claim they've been abducted kind of saw and stuff like that. I wonder if they'll incorporate the telekinesis, like the talking in the head sort of thing. That'd be interesting
I
to see.
feel like it's gotta come up.
That'd be real creepy. You're just in the middle of the cornfield. You don't hear a damn thing, and then it's just like, turn around.
Yeah.
It's like, ah, no, stop.
Fuck this! I'm putting away my Steam Deck. It's just the first time you hear something talk to you.
Yeah.
I could take all that. Like, first off, I'm a little bitch. I can't take that normally, but the moment I hear whispering in my ear, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not playing anymore. I'm gone because I can't tell if it was actually in my head or the game.
All right, too spooky. I heard a kid crying in the distance in the back room, and I have no children to speak.
Yeah.
Sifu, I heard that was actually a pretty interesting. I never played this game, but I think I couldn't remember it. I remember watching a trailer of it, and it looked pretty cool, kind of like a action revenge game. It's a kung fu revenge game, and apparently they're now making a movie adaptation from the John Wick writer. So pretty cool. Oh yeah, I heard this. Days Gone director blames woke reviewers and tech issues for lukewarm response. That one I don't know about. That was the Days Gone. The Days Gone director is a lying asshole. He's just as woke as those reviewers. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I saw the whole thing about it, but the guy didn't seem to be based. So I was like, I was iffy on that one. I didn't look too far into it because I thought it was personally not worth my time. Diablo 4, or wait, yeah, 4. I always get my Roman numerals letters mixed up. I do want to see this though. I do want to see the Dead Space comparison. It's 6 minutes, but we won't watch all of it. I actually still need to play Did they make 3? Like 2 and 3? Is there Dead Space 3?
Yeah, there's Dead Space 3, but I heard like it didn't do well. Like a lot of people hated it. It's honestly what killed the Dead Space franchise.
I have 2.
How many times you watched that thing? Guess you really miss her.
Strange.
Yeah, see, look how much they aged her.
Such a little thing.
That's her? Nicole?
Yeah. First have heard from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Like, it's cool to see that we can get this good of graphics out of games these days, but it's just so over the top.
What the hell? I don't know. Something's in the room
Yeah,
with us.
my whole thing was, like, I still would personally probably say... I mean, I like what they're doing with the Resident Evil remakes. Those are okay. I thought the Shadow of Colossus remake was probably, like, the best example of just making the graphics better, not really changing anything, maybe improve the gameplay a little bit, add a couple scenes that don't change the story at all in any way, and that's it. And people will buy it, you know, sort of thing. I don't get why it's this difficult to just do that. Get to see him upgrade the gun. Luckily, all the pieces were there.
Yeah.
The good thing all these things can be combined into each other.
Now we have to get to the bridge. But first, we gotta...
Hey, that guy's face looks familiar.
We need to get to the bridge. There's 1,000 people on board. Someone will be there.
We can't. The tram system's wrecked. Everything...
Oh, there we go. Oops, sorry. All right. Interesting. Like I said, I don't know. That's, to me, also coming up with all these remake games and whatnot. I mean, that's just showing that weapons in Dead Space weren't guns; they actually were construction tools. Yeah. Still, I just found it funny that all the parts were conveniently on that table to make it. But yeah, with all these remake stuff, like, you guys think that they're just literally running out of ideas, or do you think it's more that they're running out of ideas, or is it just more just banking on a franchise?
I think they're banking on nostalgia bucks more than anything. Because they're like, oh, I loved this game growing up. I would love it to be more like better graphics and all this. And it's like, but you're gonna be killing it more than helping it. While I complain about God of War a lot right now, one, I haven't played it. I'll admit I haven't played the franchise. But two, at least they're not remaking like God of War 1 with these new graphics. They're continuing the story. They're letting the game graphics evolve with the story. That's a big difference to me. So, but it just comes down to the fact that it's so much time and money to just go out of your way to make these games so hyper realistic. They could be done just simpler and you can get more fun out of it.
Yeah, that's something Doug was saying too, because like when he was saying that when they created Earthworm Jim, it was like what, a team of 5 or something like that, and that was like a lot of the early video games and stuff like that. And like sometimes those teams were small, but man, did they bust out like amazing games, sort of thing. And it's almost like that pressure of getting it done, whatever it was, is missing nowadays, because you play an old school retro game that's awesome and you get to the credits and it goes by fairly quickly, maybe like a minute max. Now it's like almost 5 minutes to get through the credit of all these people that were involved in somehow, shape, and form, down to the testers, down to the different, or like the French team, the American team, this team and stuff. And it's like, it's almost like that, like I said, like that fire to light underneath them, because they don't have that amount of people, like, did in a way work from the past, just because one, obviously the technology wasn't there, but two, I mean, you know, when you're a small group of stuff, you don't need to go through a bunch of other sort of things. You can just converse with each other, figure out what you need to do, and then we got to get going. Like, let's go. Like, what is good? Sit there. Like, you have to make the decisions that can sometimes be really good or very bad. And now it's just, let's just see how pretty we can make it.
Yeah, I'll slightly disagree. I do like that the industry isn't as gung-ho crunch as it is, or at least we don't hear about it as much as we used to. And I think that's a good thing. But I think they're squandering the time by just let's make it more realistic. Let's ray trace. Let's 120 frames per. It's like we don't need all this. Just fun. That's all we need. Fun gameplay, coherent story. Those are the two main things you need for a video game.
I was actually gonna ask you about your opinion, Ryan, because you are obviously in that area. So, but you pretty much answered that. If I was blowing smoke or something like that, but it's definitely, like, I do feel that it's like what you said. Obviously, you don't want to be bogged down with having to rush stuff, because, you know, as someone who is as an artist as well, you obviously want to put time and care and passion into your project, but also there's also a little bit of benefit to be like, we got to keep moving, per se, but don't, like, stress over.
You gotta have a sense of urgency, or people think you're just being lazy.
Yeah,
and going slow because you're just lazy. So,
but it also comes down to the fact that it's like, the more time you devote to making one game look good, you're hurting yourself in the future, because now you're heightening your standard for what people's expectations are going to be for the sequel. Because everyone's like, the sequel needs to be better. Well, if you're making the first one ungodly realistic and you've wasted years of time on that, it's going to take you even longer to get the sequel out. Because you're going to have to up it, you're going to have to make it better, you're going to have to do everything more. And you're just wasting a ton of man hour. But if you were to go back to more of a simple art, and this is something I've been talking with my boss about, it's like, if we can keep it relatively simple and coherent, we get to have an easier flow, and we're not wasting time. We're not spending a ton of time on this game, and then we can immediately just jump into game 2.
Okay.
That's one thing I think the industry is the industry is currently missing, just because it's wanting to drive for bigger, better, better. It's like, no, I hate generally speaking, I hate it when, like, game sequels just go in a completely different art style. It's like, I want more coherence. It's like, it's digital media. It just, you take it from here and you put it there, and it's game 2. It's just not, and that's part of the problem with, like, trying to make it bigger and better, is they're always changing the art style, they're changing the look of the game, and sometimes that can hurt. And then when it comes down to, like, the crunch of it, like, one good example, I was sitting here watching, like, a video about Mass Effect 3. It's like, that was a series, that was like an entire series that at the time got completely ruined due to crunch and rushing, and they changed the art style, which they wasted so much time having to revamp the art style, and then on top of the crunch, and then having to get it out, and then they didn't get the fully flesh out, like, the actual ending to the trilogy, that it ruined the game trilogy for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a very good example. You still need to play the Mass Effect games, but
they're pretty good.
Nice. Chaos says it's more they want to destroy it and make us miserable.
It feels that way sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely does. Well, we've reached the 2-hour mark, so I don't want to hold you guys if you guys have other stuff you need to do at night. But is there anything anybody wants to plug in or share, or
Ryan? I'll let you go.
I don't really have anything in particular right now to plug. So
okay, yep. But you can find Ryan on Ryan the Editor or at Ryan the Editor on Twitter. Twatter. I don't have your information. I put it in the description. I didn't know if you would be coming on or not, but you can check him out that way. It is his Twitter page, obviously, so you know he'll speak his mind about stuff. So be wary if there's certain stuff you don't want to see.
It is my political autism box, so
yeah,
be warned.
I was trying to be nice about it, but there you go.
Oh, and he'll berate you with insults. He'll be like, "You look like some kind of wet ass Peter Pan, bitch." You gotta look out for Ryan, man. He is mouthy.
I am.
Chaos. All this talk of games is getting me down. Why is it getting you down? You just got to weed through the bullshit and find the good stuff. And if you can't find the good stuff, go back in the past, because there's a lot of good games from back in the day that you haven't experienced yet.
This is what I don't let talking games get you down, because games are supposed to be fun. And like comics right now, from Comicsgate to this new Iron Age with Eric and Joe and Razor Fist and all this, the indie market for video games is in a massive boom right now, because we've been getting nothing but raw dogged by these AAA companies, and they've been losing the faith of gamers. So just start looking at independent games. Just go onto Steam and go look in the indie section and find a game that you like and start supporting them.
There you go.
'Cause that's how you're going to start getting these better games, these older, not older looking, but older style games, to where they're not as serious. They take fun into account first, not graphics, not story, not any of this other bullshit. They want fun first, because that's what they want, is fun.
Yeah, it's definitely, for me, definitely it's a nice, it needs, sometimes there is a game where you just want fun and you don't care what the story behind it is. And then other times there are games where there's a nice balance between the story and the fun factor of it too. But yeah, Ryan would definitely know, since he's in that area. So
that's what I went to college for. Probably shouldn't have gone to college. Probably just went to trade school. Would have been
well.
But
We've all made
learn,
mistakes. Yeah, hey, I got my BFA and using that right now, right? Joe, of course, we know has death. But King Toad Incorporated is also working on setting up for another comic coming down the road called Swarm. And can also, Joe's stuff is in the descriptions. The Indiegogo also. Oh, I may not have added the Swarm one, but you should be able to find that on.
Here's some breaking news. Some breaking news for you guys, though.
Oh,
I just volunteered Ryan to make the Death video game. I need it by next Tuesday, my bruv. Don't fuck it up.
Okay, what I'm gonna do, I got this. I'm just gonna go to Pirate Bay and I'm gonna get Transformers: Fall of Cybertron and just rename it Death, and then
that works, man. I like it. See, this is why I go to Ryan, because he has all the answers to my ills.
I got you, fam.
Yeah,
got you, fam.
Just imagine I'm fist bumping you right now, because I would if we were sitting beside each other. I'd be like, dude, that's hilarious. We're just gonna take War for Cybertron and slide in a Death cover and start handing it out.
EA ain't using it anymore. I'll take it. It's mine.
Yeah.
But anything else you wanted to promote, Joe?
Not off the top of my head. That's the basics, it's good enough.
Cool. All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll call the stream. So thanks again, Joe, for hanging out, and thank you, Ryan, for being able to swoop on in. I know it was last minute, but obviously you're always welcome. What's up?
I said I live by the seat of my pants 90% of the time anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, as you know, you're always welcome on the show. And of course, we're working on trying to get other guests as well. I've reached out to a lot of people. And of course, we all know all scheduling and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll be booking some new guests down the road. I need to find out more people from, I guess, Gamergate. I'd love to hear more about Gamergate. So don't really know. I know making friends with Comicsgate, Gamergate, I don't know that much. The only person was Doug, and that was interesting hearing his take on it. So
I mean, if he'd ever be willing, Sargon was like at the forefront of that type of stuff. But
Oh, was he?
Sargon, Jim, or Mr. Medicare, as he's called. I think Gamergate's, it's odd because, like, I swear to God, just like the Ethan Ralph crowd came out of it. It's so strange. I know they didn't literally, but I feel like it was kind of his audience was birthed from it just due to Medicare. So it's like so strange to have like the ridiculousness of Ethan Ralph associated with something that was just about journalists that were being slimy.
I don't really care about the Gunt. I don't know.
Get the gun on. I'm sure that'll go over great.
Like, we always joke and we always crone about when people are like, oh, this is Gamergate's fault. And it's like, no, it's not Gamergate's fault. When you actually take a step back and look at like the actual cascade effect of Gamergate, it's actually kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that, like, yeah, I'm just interested in the whole, like, you know, like through Joe and stuff, I learned a little bit more about Comicsgate and definitely would want to learn a little bit about Gamersgate. But
I think
depends
the
on
big
person.
difference between the two, outside of the naming being similar, is Gamergate was birthed from bad gaming journalism and people just being slimy behind the scenes and all knowing each other and kind of, you know, we know how journalism is. These people all just pick a side and write it no matter what. Whereas Comicsgate was like, it was like a consumer movement in birth. It's changed a little.
It was actually like an almost like civil war within the genre.
Yeah. It was people going, these comics suck and they're woke and we just want our books and our characters to be good again. And they screamed it for long enough that we took a hint that DC and Marvel was not going to listen to our screams. So we started making our own. Whereas I don't think Gamergate necessarily birthed a big creative outlet for we'll make our own games. Because it wasn't the games that were necessarily the problem. It was the people covering the games. But
okay, that's,
you know,
that was something I was still I'm a little fuzzy on with Gamergate, like that.
Gamergate was one of the big first like gatekeeping movements there were, to where a bunch of gamers were like, no, this is kind of bullshit, stop doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it spawned out of like bad journalism, but then it grew into the whole SJWs and gaming, and then that's how we got Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn and Brianna Wu all out of that.
Well, I've heard
like,
of them.
oh,
And
it's like, oh, you don't want women in gaming. He's like, no, we do. Just don't be a cunt. It's very simple.
well,
we don't
yeah.
want cunt gaming.
Yeah, just don't be a fag and just make good games. It's not that hard. Well, I shouldn't say that, but
apparently it is. Yeah.
Well, it's a male fantasy. Yes, and
yeah, and yeah, we need more women in game. Well, one, there's plenty of women in there. You're just upset that they're not the main characters, but some people would see them as kind of like the main characters, like Tifa or Lara Croft and stuff.
they don't count. They're over sexualized.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're never going to be satisfied. So very interesting. Very interesting. But yes, we will go ahead and call it for tonight. Like I said, working on getting more guests. I've reached out to Vic. Hopefully I'll hear back from Vic. Obviously want to get that big nose douchebag to get on the show. And then of course, obviously, if anyone is interested in hearing me chatting with someone, obviously leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and punch the plus and the thumbs up, because we are on YouTube and Rumble as well. But again, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Joe, for hanging out and just chilling.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yep. Thanks, you guys. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Later.
Later.